The LEGO Ideas theme is no stranger to turning movie classics into products. There's been Gizmo, Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, Jaws, or even Twilight, just to mention a few of the more recent ones. The upcoming release LEGO sent me for review is none other than The Goonies, bringing to life One-Eyed Willy's pirate ship Inferno with a bit of a twist, every single character you'd expect to find in such a set, and a very special gift with purchase product people will buy this on release day will get while supplies last. And since it ties really well with the overall plot of the movie, I'll start here. As far as gift with purchase sets go, the Walsh's family attic is the kind of value we expect to get out of these products. You get two exclusive characters, Arving and Irene Walsh, parents to Mikey and Bran, that are seen on the big set, with her even having her broken arm bandaged. The attic build itself is fairly simple on the outside, but one that is stacked with references and Easter eggs inside, with most being stickers, but the very prominent tile at the front is fortunately a print. Being Astoria's museum curator attic, while there's some soldier armor in there, references to pirates are the most seen, with weapons, hats, and some materials regarding One-Eyed Willy's treasure, namely his framed treasure map, and an article featuring Chester Copperpot, an Astorian scavenge hunter that went missing in the 30s while looking for the pirate's riches. On the floor there's the doubloon, found alongside the map. Hidden behind the soldier armor there's a white statue that must be a reference to the Walsh's mom piece that Chunk broke, and up in the wall a poster referencing the Lighthouse Diner where the entrance to the cave is, as well as the mention of the dish Mouth orders when facing Mama Fratelli. But the coolest of them all isn't the random plasma ball that could also be found there, but rather a pirate painting stored back here with a hole on the lady's face, where Mouth, the character, sticks his tongue for that kiss me joke he pulls on Mikey. In itself, this whole thing is nothing to write home about, but the way it references and ties in with the main product storyline so well makes it one of those products that would be really hard to miss out on, especially for fans of the franchise. Not trying to entice FOMO in here, but this is one of the good ones. The same cannot be said about a very recent one, I'm afraid. With that out of the way, let's make way for the actual product you all came here to see, the pirate ship Inferno. Another way to spoil pirate fans this year after the brilliant Going Merry or the Black Pearl, Jack Sparrow's pirate ship. The only downside here is that this one isn't complete, per se, as when you turn it around you'll find a diorama-style build depicting a lot of the locations that led our cast from the Walsh's attic all the way to One-Eyed Willy's treasure. And before spoiling too much, here are all 12 of them. First, the Fratelli family, with Mama Fratelli, Jake, Francis, and Sloth, all carrying exclusive torso and face prints, as far as I'm aware, including Sloth's disability traits, due to his mom dropping him on his head when he was young, and his very cool Superman torso with suspenders. There's also a new hat piece for him, and one for Mama as well. All characters have their favorite items on them, and these three have alternate face expressions too. Then there's the girls that got caught up in the adventure, Steph and Handy, both with alternate face prints, and Handy still wearing Troy's jacket that can better be seen if you remove her hairpiece. The printing on her legs does convey the skirt from the front, but the sides and back are kinda lacking. Next up, the boy in charge, Brand, the only minifigure aside from Andy with printed legs, dual face expression, and a hairpiece I don't recognize seeing before. The Goonies kids are a must, of course: Mikey, Mouth, Chunk, and my favorite character of the movie, Data. As is the case with most minifigures in this set, they have dual face expression heads, with mouths tongue out for the painting being the funniest, of course. Mikey has his asthma inhaler and the treasure map, an actual 2x3 printed tile, and while the other boys' objects are just there, Data gets his fantastic torso full of gadget prints covered up by this plate, to which two of his inventions attached to: the pop-out boxing glove and the pincers of peril. Oh, and there's also a few candles they find in the caves. Last but not least, there's the pirate himself, One-Eyed Willy, with that cool eye patch print giving a cool spin on a very well-known print LEGO fans will be very familiar with. And that wraps up the minifigure lineup, which is perfect in my eyes, as it includes every character that absolutely needed to be featured here. As far as details go, not as perfect, but in order to include these many characters featuring new prints, leg printing for the majority of them wasn't a priority, which is a compromise I can get behind. The Inferno finally has a very impressive looking hull, and if it weren't for the fact that this is only half a pirate ship, we'd be looking at one of the best LEGO ever did. But I'm sure someone will be crazy enough to get 2 copies of the set so that with a few adaptations an entire pirate ship can be built out of mirroring one of the builds over. Its size is comparable to the Black Pearl, and as far as building techniques went, it is really impressive. You may not be able to tell from the camera, but there's a slight angle to the whole thing, with a few sections towards the captain's cabin placed at odd angles as well. If it wasn't for the peony looking masts, this thing would be proper. The front section is a bit weirdly shaped, I'll give you that, with a few more disproportionately small details as well, but it was done so to fit the interior scenes, which to me feels like the highlight of this particular product, as if that wasn't clear enough, judging by the box's images both front and back. Even the BI, with the usual highlights of the fan designer, his model and the movie, still focus heavily on the interior scenes, so let's go over those. Now, if you were expecting the ship's interior here, that's actually not the case, as the concept for this set was to include all of the major locations and booby trap scenes that led the Goonies to the actual ship, starting off up here in the Lighthouse Diner main room, where the kids order 4 waters, or the blender used to scare Chunk into ratting his friends is featured in the counter back there. A hole in the floor gives access to the stairs that lead to the rooms below, where Sloth was chained up in front of a TV watching some pirate shows, or the one where the freezer is, no body included, the money printing machine, and the Fratelli's wanted poster. And let's not forget the fireplace, of course, under which lies the next part of the adventure with lots of leaky pipes. That room leads to the caves where the remains of Chester Copperpot, the Astorian scavenge hunter, can be found, next to his medallion, a neatly printed tile. Now, the reason for his passing was the falling boulders, a simple drop mechanism that can be released on the ship's deck outside, and reset by simply turning this crank here. I'm kinda having some of that Indiana Jones diorama vibes with this one, which I really like. The next room is located under the Moss Garden Wishing Well, reason why there's so many coins on the floor. The dial on the wall is where the medallion goes, and turning it counterclockwise as suggested by data drops the trapdoor. His quick thinking with the pincers of peril saves him from a certain death at the mercy of some very well positioned spikes. The skull entrance leads to the last cave room where the characters need to balance on the log and then go play the correct tune in the pipe organ above. There will be some mistakes along the way which lead to pieces of the floor falling, like the movie, and if that in itself wasn't impressive enough, the last keystroke will trigger the function to open the stone drawbridge, which is awesome. I can't fully grasp how it works even when seeing the internals on the back, but the fact that it does only when that very last key press releases the mechanism for the drawbridge to lower is mind-blowing, at least to me. That opened access to the slide that leads the cast to the waters of the cave where the Inferno is hidden. Funny detail is the octopus in the waters, a cool nod to a deleted scene in the movie I had to do some research on. The characters use these rope elements to climb aboard the actual ship, and let's pretend for a moment they haven't been inside this whole time, which leads them to the captain's quarters where One-Eyed Willie's treasure lies. A nice selection of golden pieces, including a few printed coins, the same ones first seen as cursed Aztec gold in the LEGO Black Pearl. Eventually the Fratelli family gets to the Goonies, making them walk the plank, at which point Sloth and Chunk make their dramatic entrance, ripping through the pirate's ship's sails, with the least impressive function of the set in my opinion. This also made it so that the sail piece has this gap in the middle for it to work, so maybe this is not the set to get for sails if you want to build up a custom pirate ship of your own. The reasons that made me like the Indiana Jones diorama are the same ones that make me like this one just as much. Being able to capture an entire movie adventure in a single set with all of the characters, scenes, and booby traps in this way is incredibly fun. And the pirate ship canvas is a far more interesting way to display all of that rather than a black base, effectively giving you two options to display your love for the Goonies. That, paired with the gift with purchase set, if you manage to get one on release day, make it a decent deal at the end of the day. Not perfect by all means, but decent. Because this near 3,000 piece LEGO set will retail for $330, which by all means isn't terrible, at least not tropical aquarium levels of terrible, but certainly would have been nicer for that sweet round number of $300. And if we disregard the Goonies fandom completely, which will be for sure the main target of this particular product, pirate fans have a really nice blueprint here for another vessel for their displays. Surely, a lot of work needs to be done in order to turn this Alf pirate ship into a full one, and with options on the market like the Going Merry or Black Pearl, this endeavor may look a bit futile, but I don't know, it's never a bad thing having options, I feel. As both a fan of the Goonies and LEGO with a particular appetite for cool functions and building techniques, getting an insider's discount of some sort to bring this closer to a $300 price tag or lower, tied in with the Walsh's gift with purchase set, makes me like this set a lot. Not my favorite of the year by a long shot, that place is reserved for far smaller, cheaper, but equally impressive builds with interactive functions, if you know what I mean, but still, not bad. Not bad at all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.